Hello, my farm life fans. How are you doing today? I hope everyone is good. And all the people that aren't good and they're having a rough day, I feel for you, and I hope that your day gets better. I hope that your week gets better. I hope that your life gets better, because I know what it's like to live with deep depression. And so anybody who's going through that, I feel for you. I'm here for you. So, along those same lines, I wanted to talk about why did I move my family from Costa Rica, where everyone thinks is so amazing, Costa Rica, to Nicaragua, to a tiny little town in Nicaragua. Not even a town. Our closest neighbor is my mother-in-law, and it's a 15-minute walk down that hill. So, why did we move? So a big part was I didn't enjoy the culture in Costa Rica at all. I found it really cutthroat, really backstabbing, really backbiting, and really petty. It might have been just where I was located. I don't know. On the Nicoya Peninsula. And maybe other places are not like that. I found a lot more warm welcome where I actually felt more comfortable and relaxed in Puerto Viejo. But in the city as well, in San Jose, just wasn't really, it just felt really cold. Like I kind of felt like I was in the States, but also there was like this undercurrent of really intense, like kind of violent energy that I didn't like there, that I just felt personally. I know maybe other people are going to have a different viewpoint on that, are going to have a different take on that, are going to have a different experience. It all depends on us and where we're at, right? And also our personalities and what our values are. We're all so different. We're all so individual that one thing that's perfect for one person could be hell for another. So I'm just saying, for me, Costa Rica was like a little personal hell. It was really awful because I am a kind of person that I am all about being honest, authentic as much as possible. I understand we all slip every now and again. Doesn't have to be extreme by any point, but we all just strive to live by our values, right? I'm also very cooperative. I really, really hate competition. It's like there's no reason to be in competition for me at all. Like, we're all human. We all have deep desires. We all have deep needs. We need to be met, of safety, of love, of feeling like we belong, of prosperity, food, shelter, all those things. And also our emotional needs. We all need to be heard. We all need to feel emotionally safe. We all need to have an expression of ourselves and or work, or whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you. So anyway, you can hear my baby girl. She might come out and interrupt us. So anyway, I think I spent about 5 years in in Costa Rica, because that's where I met my partner, and that's where my daughter was born. And also COVID happened, so we got kind of stuck. But we also got stuck for other reasons. I think I talked about it in another video of the complete negligence of the government workers there, refusing to put my partner's name on the birth certificate, and then us fighting for a year because continued government worker negligence, telling us to do one thing and we did it and it didn't work, and telling us to do another thing and come back in 4 months, so it just took forever. But we finally got it done. But it was just excruciating. Also, where we lived very far away from everyone else. I don't like that. I hate that small town feel. I hate that small town tribal BS of everyone's in everyone's business, everyone's talking about everyone else. Nobody has anything to do, so they're just trying to make everybody else's life miserable. and then a lot of tension between the foreigners and the locals, because the locals hate the foreigners because the foreigners came in, they buy all the best property, they have all this money, and all the prices go up. So yeah, they bring jobs, and yeah, they bring a lot of money to the community, but there's also negative parts of that, right? So you got to look at that as well. So there was a love-hate relationship, and really, where we were at least, the locals really hated, like in general, not all of them, but in general, they really hated the foreigners, and they would do whatever they could to really make your life miserable. If they could, they'd steal whatever from you. They call the police on you, they call lawyers on you, just a bunch of BS. And Costa Rica is a really, really shitty place to live. There's my baby girl. Hi, baby. Come on. All right, come on. I don't think she has any pants on. No pantalones. Está bien, estoy, yeah. Pero ella está bien. Está bien. Yeah, hi, say hello. 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 All right, mommy's gonna keep recording, okay? Yes. All right, good job. You sit here and you relax. Bless you. So, bless you. So there was a lot of tension between foreigners and the locals. A lot of tension. And then between the foreigners and the foreigners, there was so much competition. There was so much bitchiness and cattiness, and especially between women, which I absolutely abhor. I'm so against that. I'm so for women supporting women, women supporting, you know, like men in a healthy way. Just support, you know, support, working together, helping. And there was a lot of that, but just in a different way. It's like, here, have some money, and that helped, but there wasn't a lot like of this emotional, non-competitive, here, let me help you actually get established, let me help you find work, let me help you with that. And maybe there was, but also with my personality, I couldn't find work, I couldn't do my cacao ceremonies, I couldn't do my shamanic healings there, my meditations. I just got blocked on every level, and I felt really frustrated because I also got pregnant with this little sweetheart, and the pregnancy was okay, but it also was just really stressful there in general, because I had to depend on my partner to for a lot to get around, because we just had one motorcycle. And wait, you're gonna get my lap? Here. Okay. Yep. So we just had one motorcycle. If you're gonna stay here, you have to be quiet. You're gonna stay here, or you're gonna go in with Daddy? Yeah? I love you. So I was dependent on him to get around. I was mostly dependent on him financially, because the internet wouldn't work enough for me to teach online or do online healings and all the stuff that I had been doing, right? And then I got pregnant, and it was lovely, but all of my energy went to this little baby, this little sweetheart. You want to go in and hang out with Daddy? No? Okay, then relax. Yeah? Okay. And so it was just excruciating there. I mean, you couldn't trust anybody. The neighbors, if they didn't like you, they would call like the police on you. They would try to shut down your business. They would try to get your children taken away. Just anything they could do to, like, really, really nasty, mean in that area. And then the foreigners, some of them would help, but the people who were really wonderful to me and helped me a lot there all ended up leaving. Like, they didn't like it at all. Or they liked it for a little bit and then like, God, this is just small town, I can't handle it. And so they left. But the people who were there like long term, it's like they were so ingrained in this way of life, in this way of thinking, that obviously worked really well for them, but for me, just not. It was really awful. And then not being able to afford food most of the time. We'd have food for, the first 5 or 6 days in the week. And then we would go without food for 1 or 2 days. Yeah. Without food. And I found it extremely stressful. Yeah. That's right. So it was between that, not being able to work, it's being very excruciating. The garden wouldn't work because we're right in front of the sea, and so we couldn't really plant anything. And I had my quail and I had my rabbits, but we couldn't expand. And then there was another person who had come up, who started doing kind of the same thing, and really lovely person, but very competitive as well, very masculine male, very competitive, and I just couldn't deal with it. So I just got kind of blocked on every level as well. So it took us a long time to finally move here, and it was a hard decision because out here we live with my partner's family, with his mom and his stepdad, and then she raises a few kids that are her grandkids. And it's in the middle of nowhere, like really in the middle of nowhere. It's gorgeous here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Silent. They've got quite a lot of acreage. They have cows, and they plant corn and rice and beans and corn. So they plant, and yucca, so they plant pretty much everything that they eat. They still buy occasionally something like from the store. And they do that, but it's an hour and a half away from the town on boat, and it's really an extreme thing for. I'm the only foreigner in these parts. I'm the only foreigner in town. Don't bite. And okay, sit still. And Akasha, sit still.
No.
I'm the only foreigner in these parts. I'm the only one who's not the only one who speaks English. There are a few people in town that speak English, and they work 6 days a week, so I only get to talk to them very occasionally. The general so then also the education level is very different here, because farming is what people do, what they've grown up with, and so the education for like someone in the city that would need is not necessary here, because you get all of your education here at the farm, right? So just education level is very different than mine, and the conversations are very simple. It's kind of the same thing every day, and they talk about other people, or they talk about the crops, or they talk about the animals, and that's fine. But somebody who needs something else to talk about, it can kind of get a little crazy. Anyways, I'm going on a bit of a rant, but so we finally decided to move here, build a house, because at least here we have our own house. We don't have to pay that much in taxes, right? We can have our own garden. We have our own garden, our own animals, and we don't have to pay rent or lights or anything like that. So for us, it was absolutely the best choice, and to live close to family, so that if we need somebody who can watch our daughter, there's somebody there, right? Somebody that we can, for the most part, trust. And her grandma's wonderful with her. She's really, really sweet. So in that, it's been really, really positive for us. It's taken a huge load of financial stress off of us, but also there's not really good internet here. I have to go into town to get somewhat decent internet, which also comes and goes. So I can't really look for a translating job or something, or an interpreter job, because internet still is not super great. I know. Oh, you talking about sausage? I don't know what she's saying. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, okay, after, baby. I'm busy. Uh-huh. So for us, it really made a lot of sense for us to move here, even though I knew that it was going to be a challenge to be out in the boonies of nowhere. Also homesteading. I have lived on a couple homesteads that didn't have electricity or running water, that sort of thing, so I knew what a challenge that was going to be. And raising a child, because I think she was about 1.5 when we moved here. Now she's 2.5, so 1.5. And there were a lot of unforeseen problems and issues that we ran into here. But overall, I am so much happier here than I was in Costa Rica. Like, you get the obnoxious neighbors that steal your business ideas and that sort of stuff, but it's not people who are actively trying to mess up your life. It's like, oh, if there's an occasion and they will. Not everybody. Some people here are just really chill, but there's still that aspect. But nothing like Costa Rica, where it was just like they were so cutthroat and mean, and especially the women towards women. And the laws were just excruciating, like especially with our daughter, because as soon as you're pregnant, which I didn't know, in Costa Rica, your daughter is the property, your son or daughter, that fetus is the property of the state. It's not your kid. That's what I was told afterward. And if you don't meet certain requirements, if you don't do certain things, you can get in huge trouble and they can take your kid away from you. Doesn't matter if you're a good parent or not, right? And I don't know how much of it's just BS, because they like to be really emotionally abusive, especially to foreigners, and they hate Nicaraguans. They are so racist against Nicaraguans. So we had two things going for us, the American woman and the Nicaraguan. So it was really, really difficult for us here. And here it's been really excruciating and difficult, but it's like we're doing much better. We have food every day of the week. It might just be rice and beans, but we have food. My stress levels have gone down so much because I don't have to constantly be nervous about what my neighbor is doing, what my neighbor is thinking. I don't have to be set and ready if they've called child services on us for whatever reason, for other stupid reason again, or call the police on us because we, are growing, because we're selling something like animals out of our backyard or whatever, which is very common in all of the, that's the joy for me of living in Central America, is that you have freedom. You can actually do what you want to do without having a lot of people in your face about it. But obviously not there in that area in Costa Rica. So this is getting really long. So thank you so much for stopping by and having this discussion with me, listening. And if you have any comments below, Let me know in the comments below if you have been to Costa Rica, if you've been to, if you've ever done homesteading, that sort of stuff. I would love to hear from you to see what your experience has been. If you've had something similar or if you had something like the opposite, I'd love to know. Give us a good thumbs up, subscribe so that you don't miss any time I come to have another discussion. Whoop, there's the baby again. And we'll see you next time. Bye.